Hi Nerva, let's take a look at your week 1 assignment 3 drawing here. There's a couple of things with this drawing that I think can really help out a lot. I think the first thing is that I feel like you're working fairly small here with the blind drawings that you have in place. Just the number of blinds that I'm seeing to fill up a shape, say the square in the middle, for instance. There's just 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 strokes that are filling up this entire shape, which is not really that big of a shape. I think this causes a lot of problems when you don't work large enough, especially with an assignment like this where you have a lot of tight spaces and a lot of overlapping elements, because you're not able to get the control that you need in such a small area. And I think the larger you work, the easier it is to manage tighter spaces, because the tighter spaces are actually a little bit larger in and of themselves. So a lot of these issues that I'm seeing, like here, where there's an overlapping of the green on top of the red, or areas like I'm seeing here and along the edge of the triangle where the cut isn't really enough to cover up the gaps where the stroke doesn't, go all the way up to the edge. This is usually the case for smaller drawings because the marker just doesn't really have enough room to kind of move around. So that would be my my first suggestion. A couple of these per page would work out really well, but I think getting them all on the page, or having them all be like a quarter of the size of a page, it starts to get a little difficult. I think in general, like the technique is in place here, but I think in all cases it can still be refined a little bit more. I think your edge quality still could use some, keeping an eye on. You've got a drawing in place with the pencil, but I don't really notice it being followed through with the marker. There's kind of areas like here where the points of the triangle are not very sharp, although there are some, areas like over here where they are. But I think we need to see a little bit more kind of consistency with you trying to maintain the line that you've made with the drawing and try to keep things, as nice and sharp, 90-degree angles on the corners of squares, and, making sure your triangles have good solid points, making sure colors don't overlap into other colors when they shouldn't. This becomes, I think, even more important when you start dealing with representational images, because these types of things tend to confuse areas. And then I think just kind of overall craftsmanship, kind of take a look at. There's a lot of areas in the blind, I think even more so than the last assignment, where there's gaps between the strokes or things aren't lining up along the edges. The side to side, could definitely use more saturation. I can actually see the horizontal strokes that are being made on the square on the top here. So it comes across as kind of a semi-blind, semi-side to side, but neither kind of either one of them. And so you definitely could go for more even coverage. We shouldn't be seeing kind of areas that are lighter in value like there is one here, or areas that are darker in value like there are here. So those are things to keep an eye on. Just take your time with them. The side to side takes a lot more time than the blind does. You have to constantly be putting color into the page so that it fills up to the point that it can't take any more ink, and that's really the goal with the side to side. And with the blind, you just have to make sure that you're starting in the right spot and you're ending at the right spot, and that you're not leaving kind of gaps in between the strokes or in between your cuts, because then you start to create these areas where, for example, with the red, it starts to create a lattice work. It's starting to create a texture you don't want. It's creating a lot of distraction within the fill as well. So you want it to be as smooth as possible. So keep practicing. I would say just try, to take your time with these. Work a little larger next time, and just keep an eye on some of the issues that we've been talking about.